Ultimately, are you prepared to forego the chance to be the greatest player that ever picked up a racket, statistically, because you feel so strongly about this jab?
Yes. I do.
But as things stand, if this means that you miss the French Open, is that a price you'd be willing to pay?
Yes, that is the price that I'm willing to pay.
And if it means that you miss Wimbledon this year, again, that's a price you're willing to pay?
Yes.
Why, Novak? Why? Why?
Because the principles of decision-making on my body are more important than any title or anything else. I say that everyone has the right to choose to act or say whatever they feel is appropriate for them.
Martin, that was very profound.
I agree 100% on that part with him.
I agree with him too, 100%. And in this particular case, there was no religious connotation mentioned at all. This was just plain common sense.
And that's a little bit lacking these days.
Very much lacking. And especially if coercive practices are then still used, like in his case.
Exactly.
There were very powerful coercive factors, but he was willing to take a stand.
Yeah.
And that is something that everybody will have to do, because you will have to stand before the judge one day and give an account for where you stand, not where the collective psyche stands.
That is such an important statement.
All right, let's just get back to basics. One is inclined to get hot under the collar. One is even inclined to become exceedingly irate when you listen to this nonsense. But you're supposed to keep a cool head, because this war is not our war. It is God's war. It is a battle for the mind. What is our organization called that we are involved in here?
Clash of minds.
Clash of minds. It is a clash of minds. And this is very, very important that we understand it. The basis of God's government, His constitution, as it were, His rule book, is called the Ten Commandments, the Decalogue.
Yeah.
There are two sides to it. We've had many discussions on this. The one is love for God, and the other one is love for your neighbor. Any form of coercion is not love your neighbor.
No. So then you can definitely not be love your God.
Correct. So anybody that says, if you don't do this, you are harming grandma, is a liar, and the truth is not in him. Bottom line, we've seen that they've lied about it. They don't have the data to back that up. But let's just look at the big picture. God's commandments are love to God and love to your neighbor, right? If you had to sum up the Decalogue in one word, there's no other word that you could use other than love.
Yeah.
Right? So the Decalogue is a summation of what love is all about. And none of this fits into those parameters. So this is all contrary to the will of God. Because God has given us freedom of choice. He was so passionate about freedom of choice that He was prepared to die for it. Imagine that, right? So Martin, if we look at those basic precepts of the Ten Commandments, and we sum them up with that one little word, love, then there is no coercion in that whatsoever, because love cannot be associated with coercion. Love cannot be forced. Love can never, ever force. That's why Jesus said, when I be lifted up, I will draw all men to me, not force them to accept my will or else. Now the devil has totally the contrary philosophy.
Yeah.
And he has an agent on this earth, and that is the beast. And anybody that wants to become like the beast is an image to the beast and is like the beast. And they have the dragon as their father.
Yes.
And they will have the mindset of their father. And they will be coercive. And the Bible says it is going to happen. Therefore, for me to climb on a bandwagon and say, I'm going to do everything in my power to prevent it, is actually fighting against God. Because it's going to happen whether I like it or not.
We've said this many times. You're going to get between God and Satan, and that's going to crush you.
Yes. It's got to come to a head. There has to be a clash of minds.
Yes.
And the decision that you make is a private decision. Out of this conflict, you have to take a stand. And as Luther said, and we'll say it again, your choice is to stand behind the devil or to stand behind Christ. There is no alternative. And you make the choice. No one makes it for you. Not I or anyone else. No hierarchy can tell me what that choice has to be. It's between me and God. So let's have a look what the World Health Organization is planning. Mm-hmm. And that should tell us whether we're moving in the direction of prophecy or not, right?
Yes, and is everything going back to normal?
Or is it going to escalate?
Exactly.
What does the Bible say?
It's going to escalate.
Okay, Martin, why don't people understand that?
They don't want to, because probably they're scared.
Or they have an agenda and they have to get around the agenda, so they jump from one philosophy to another.
If it's all driven by fear, why does God then continuously say in the Bible, do not fear? Because then your relationship have to come into line again.
Perfect faith drives out fear. Love also drives out fear.